I'm sponsored by Accurist is beep, beep, beep.
Is that still a thing?
You still get the speaking clock, can't you?
Is that a mobile phone? Yeah, you can ring it, can't you?
You can ring it, yeah. It's 1, 2, 3, isn't it? The speaking clock or something like that.
So this is the Tony and Tris podcast.
Yeah, so is it Tris and Tony now we swap sides?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, because it's left to right normally, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, you can tell
us in the comments, guys.
Yeah. It's TNT, which
TNT,
I think is kind of cool.
It's very alliterative.
So obviously we have seen each other already today. I come to the shop, we have a little chat.
Yeah, that's some banter. That's some off-camera banter. Now we're going to some on-camera banter.
That's right. So, see, we haven't done the podcast for a while, have we?
Yeah, first one of the year. Been away for a while.
It's true. I don't know when it was last year.
It was just before Christmas. We ended saying Merry Christmas, everyone, and now it's gone Easter, isn't it?
Okay, well, I hope everyone had a good Easter.
They did. I got lots of chocolate.
Yeah.
I had one egg. Mini eggs or cream eggs? What's better?
Okay, yeah, leave it in the comment below. Well, you got lots of options on these eggs now because like you get the Galaxy ones as well, you're full of them,
and the caramel egg is a bit old school, but much better than a cream egg.
Yeah,
and orange mini eggs. Oh.
Okay. Well, when I was younger, I understand that they changed the recipe of the cream eggs, and I remember they used to taste really nice. And then I had some years later, and it wasn't as good. Yeah. So I would love to have one of the old ones. Obviously, it would be a bit manky now. But if they made the old recipe now, it would be nice to have that.
Imagine that. What would you do if you could time travel? I'd go back to the local post office or corner shop and I'd get an Easter egg, a cream egg from the 1990s.
Well, why not? That would be good.
What a waste of time travel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, I'd go back and stop Hitler. No, what a cream egg.
Well, there'd be a knock-on effect, wouldn't it?
It would be,
whatever you affect, you might not get any cream eggs.
Yeah, causality.
It might be there were no cream eggs. Obviously, I know we're not talking about on-topic stuff.
Yeah, this is a good model railway podcast.
Yeah, well done. Well, it's that kind of
rambling.
Yeah.
People say they like the way we ramble.
Yeah, rambling's good. Well, it makes life interesting.
It does, doesn't it?
Sometimes you get into something interesting.
Yeah.
So we haven't done the podcast for a while. My honest reason is I've either been busy, but the other bit is kind of having a little bit of a break from the railways a bit. I did loads on the shunting yard layout. And actually when I did kind of feel like I probably could have had time to do, I probably just did other things. So it's nice to actually come and do it again. Yeah,
it's nice to get back to it. And it's nice all of you come up to us. I get it a lot at the exhibitions now. When's the next podcast coming out? So it's really nice that you guys want to hear more from us, you know.
Yeah, and we've talked about, I think, the last one, people said it would be nice to be a guest on that.
Yeah, we've got a couple of potential guests lined up who are still interested. We speak to them regularly. In fact, one of them, Rob from Little Wicket, was one of the guys who said, you know, when's the next one coming out? And I was like, oh yeah, we'll get you on as a guest. And it was more, no, I just want to hear one again. So that was nice. That was very sweet. I
think it'd be, you know, we're coming into spring now. We've all got a bit more energy because the sun's out.
Yeah, that's it. Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah, that's it.
And the industry kind of goes a little bit more quiet now, so it gives me a bit more free time.
You said when we came in today, it's kind of the season where the typical customers generally on holiday a bit more.
Yeah. May, June, September is very much holiday period for the ABC1 kind of style customer in the model railway industry, what everyone associates the industry of being, because no young people in the hobby.
Well, there's a couple of them. Well, it was nice actually going to the that
Key Model World.
Key Model World exhibition. Obviously, that was one of my more recent videos.
And it was our most recent show as well.
So there's lots more youngsters than I would normally see there. Kind of parents bringing their kids along. There's a lot of combinations, and I actually bumped into a family that met me at Statfold Club, and I went to that show. Well, I didn't do this last one, the one before.
Oh yes.
And because they'd asked me some questions about the railway, and they kind of told me about their progress, and it was nice to talk to them. Honest. So that was
it's
a pleasure.
Good.
So you've probably been to a few shows since I kind of last really probably talked to you about things. So what have you been doing?
We had a busy show season. We had Doncaster as usual, start of February.
I came up to that one.
You came, so you were very glandular, weren't you?
I had a really rotten throat at the time.
So I think that stopped a potential podcast, because we said at Doncaster, let's film a podcast.
That's very true.
By the time you could speak properly again, I was in the midst of getting ready for Ali Pali or something.
Because I put off doing some of my shunting yard layout videos because I didn't have a voice at one point. I've been away, caught something. I took lots of COVID tests, but none of that came up. But turns out there's other things other than COVID out
it's not
there.
the only illness.
So, it might be something called flu, whatever that is. Yeah, it's old prehistoric.
Old school. Flu or man flu.
So you had Doncaster, which for me I thought was a nice
I like
show.
Doncaster. It's one of my Warner's was the first, BRM magazine, Warner's publications were kind of the first big shows we did. So it's doing Doncaster and Ali Pally is always nice, which was the one that followed on. From,
so have they got certain qualities the way that they run shows?
Yeah, you can kind of get the vibe off a Warner's show that it's their way of doing things. Okay. They're very organised, very. Yeah.
And you're used to it, so there's nothing new popping in. It's like right, this, cool. You know?
Yeah, you sort of you keep the same pitch pretty much every year as well. So when you get into Doncaster, you have to go and register, but you pretty much know exactly where you're going to be before you start. Where some of these shows, it's a bit of a random where they're going to put you this year kind of thing, and I understand why. I mean, with Statfold, we have to move traders around to fit certain layouts in certain places. Yep. So I fully understand why when you go to some shows, you don't know where you're going to be.
Yeah, and I guess you've been going to model railway shows for quite a few years, and then now you obviously been organising. You've got a good idea from both ends of what's going on and how things could be better or worse.
I remember saying to Bev from Warner's, I was like, I'm never going to moan at you again after running my own show kind of thing. Bev's now left Warner's, but at the time she did all the trade bookings and a lot of the advertising, and we stayed in touch, good friends, you know, she's great. All the people at Warner's are great. Yeah. All the people at Key are great, you know, they're really helpful, really friendly.
Yeah, so you've done like Gaydon with Key in the past.
Yeah, Gaydon.
Not Gaydon, sorry.
Milton Keynes.
Electric Train Show.
Yeah, and...
that was that, yeah, so Milton Keynes is...
Milton Keynes is Key Publishing, Hornby Magazine, and then obviously Key Model World Live is Key Publishing. So, yeah, they're a really great team to work with. They're fantastic. Again, friendly people, helpful. You know, very professional, which makes life easy. And we work with there's a I can't remember the publishing works who do Gaydon as well. Okay. Which is again fine, you know, very professional, very helpful, you know, good shows.
Yeah. No, I like Gaydon because it's not too far for me to travel. I think you've said it's not too far for you to travel either.
I mean, I've moved. Obviously, one of the other things that's happened to me this spring is I've moved.
You have.
I'm now a Northamptonian, so I can't pronounce the word "neen" anymore.
That's it. You say it as they would see.
I've got to start calling it the "nen" now.
Yeah, the nen. So obviously that's not too far for me as well. Yeah, so maybe we'll end up doing a podcast at mine.
We could do, or even in my hobby
Once you set up your hobby room.
My hobby room set up,
That'll be good to see.
Might even build a model railway again.
That's something I'll have to come over and visit Tony and see his railway.
See the mess that I've made.
I know, but you got to start with mess.
Yeah, and you finally learn that I'm not a great railway modeller.
Well, you haven't set any kind of form of expectation yet. So we're going to see. And the nice thing is to see what people are interested in and the way of what they're trying to achieve.
Oh yeah.
That's the nice thing about going to model railway shows, when you see someone that's done some bit of an obscure layout, see them using it, you're like, that's quite a nice idea actually. I might do that.
Oh yeah. In fact, I've got 2 project layouts planned. Okay. I'm saying that after 10 beers. Okay, that are based on 2 friends' layouts. One on Jordan's Sutton Bank depot, and one on my friend Adam's layout, which is Glen Adam Distillery. Okay. Which is, I don't know if you've seen. You obviously didn't come to Statfold, but basically you've got a double slip in the middle of the layout, and that's your only point work.
You have mentioned this before,
and it creates a really interesting layout. Yeah.
So just a single double slip in the middle.
Yeah, and then you've got 4 roads coming off it.
Right. Do they go off scene?
So one goes into a fiddle yard, and then one goes into like a factory front, and one goes into an engine shed and all that. It's only on like a 4 foot by 1 foot board. Yeah. And one of the comments we had a lot at Statfold, and Adam had a lot at Statfold, was it makes you realise anyone can build a model railway. You know, it's great having the guys from Saw Valley bring they bought their big double O gauge last year, and they bought their big O gauge this year, and they're 40-50 foot layouts, and they're amazing, they're stunning, you know. And Pete Waterman's making tracks, and Blair Athol at Key, and all these kind of layouts are amazing, but most of us ain't got room for that.
No. You know? And we don't want to be put off by the hobby. So when you have small layouts like that, you go, oh, okay.
Small layouts, I can do that. Yeah. And it's nice to have layouts as well that have like what are clearly proprietary buildings on, like Backman Scenecraft or Metcalf kits or ratio kits, because it again gives people that realisation, I can do this.
Yeah, you don't have to be a skilled modeller to enjoy a lovely looking railway. Yeah. And there's a lot of, like, obviously you come into your shop and you've got all your wood and seated products that you can put by hand. Yeah. Actually, it's really easy to do. Sometimes the biggest thing stopping people doing it is just they haven't had a go yet.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as you get a bit of wood, put a single bit of track on, start putting some, there's a bit of ballast there, and even if it's mucky, fine. Yeah. And then you put your bits of grass after someone knocked on the door. Then,
no.
you know, you can build something up, and actually, you do that, And then if you don't like what you've done, you know what you've done wrong, you can start again. That's one of the things when you talk to people there. I've bought some locos, I've got the track, I've even done the baseboards, but I don't know what I want to do with railway. It's like, well, just put something down. Do a loop. Use the logos that you bought, and then you might start going, I'd like a point there. That's cool with the double slip though.
It is, I really want to try that, and I'll probably do that using...
that double A?
Yeah, double O. I'll probably do it using the Pico Bullhead track, because it's... Pico Bullhead's amazing, but it's so expensive. When you've got one piece of point work in,
investment's a bit lower, isn't it?
It becomes a lot cheap. One piece of point with about 5 lengths of flexi tops kind of thing. It's like, that's suddenly affordable.
That's only you've only got a few track joiners to join that together.
Exactly.
Wiring's going to be easier.
Should be easy.
You don't have to worry about anything like obviously shorting out too much.
The time will tell on that.
That's true. That's true.
But going back to what you said there, it's something interesting that happens in here a lot. Is people sort of almost nervous about like, I don't know if I should be. What should I do? What should I do? It's like, if you like it, do it. I don't mind. You ain't got to. I'm not going to judge anyone, and there's sort of. I think people are terrified of being judged in this hobby.
This is my issue when I came into it, and I wouldn't say it's an issue like as if like I've got something it's up my shirt, but there's a scenario where things must be done a certain way, and then you've got people then call them train sets when you're not following what is a model railway. But ultimately, if there's something in your head that you enjoy doing, it's kind of like have a go at doing it.
Just enjoy it.
Because initially when I started my double O'Neill layout, effectively, I had 4 tracks going around with lots of set track. I had so much fun because I had them rocketing round. Had a whole bunch of basically I'd have them going around, and I didn't realise until I think my brother pointed out to me, hello if you're watching, that obviously you had a left and right hand thing like the UK road system. I didn't even realise. I got some people, they're all going wrong ways and all sorts, and then I put a little 009 section on it, and I thought this is going to be the best railway anyone's ever seen, because there's so much, and as time's gone by, I like the idea of just having a single track going around. Like Mulder Raspberry, his layout. He's got such a single beautiful layout, and you everyone knows the fact that it's just one track. So model now that track and wire it dead easy, nice and simple. And then I want to do loads of scenics, where some person might just want as much track as possible. Go for it. You just got to do a bit of wiring or not, and you put up with certain peculiarities that happen. Oh, that short's out there, so get it going. But no, it's like you learn a lot. I remember when I had loads of a Hornby, the long point.
The express point.
And that doesn't like short wheelbase locos because it's got probably
it's the longest insel frog in existence.
So I would double head my little loco, so one would then push it past it, the other one stops and gets bored across, and it would do that. And if I went fast enough, it barely noticed it. So it's like, then go through.
We've got one of them points on the test layout, and the reason it's there is if a loco will go over that, it'll go over anything.
That's right. So that was emotional. And one of my other mistakes I made was I put it all together. I didn't put any extra wires under anything to back up, and I put my joiners on to join the track. And then I sprayed it with some rail match stuff. Obviously the paint starts going in and starts obviously causing issues there, and it was fun initially, but then I ran it for a bit and things get dirty, and I'm sure it shorts a little bit inside it, and next thing you know it's not working. Then you poke the rail join and then the loco starts going again, and I'm like, and I can't solder it now that easy because I've got it covered in paint. So I'm like, so there's all these little things you learn in the early stages. That's all now come up. Actually the loft I haven't been up there for a while. I'm ashamed of it because I put so much effort in and then you haven't done it. And in my heart, I want to rip it all up and I want to start again with like modules, so I can do some downstairs, which I've loved with the shutting layout. Take that one back up, and because wiring it once it's up there and corny underneath, I'm not interested. I'm not 20. I might look young, but I don't feel it. It's even just the leaning forwards working on your layout when you're up there, you really start feeling that, and you're like, I'm knackered. So I like the idea now of starting again and just moduling up. But obviously the Statfold barn layout kind of set that inspiration for me, because Tony, if you haven't already seen him, kind of gave me that task of
doing under the bus.
So I did a layout, which was cool, using the scale model scenery.
It was use of scale model scenery baseboards.
That's it. So we had a bunch of them. And that was cool, and that opened up my eyes to how simple some of it could be. I still made it difficult for myself in certain bits, but it was a single lane going through. And eventually for the Kettering Model Railway Show, which we've got again in September.
Yeah, we'll be going to that this year.
Yeah.
First time, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
There's the flyer there.
I think I'm still going to that. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, so I made it sort of looped around for that.
15 layouts, £6 bargain. Yep. Trade stalls, Tony's Trains, you don't need to look at the rest.
That's it. That's it. So that was nice last year when we did that. But
I'm
having the single track loop, actually there was more work put into the fiddle yard than the layout in regards to the track. So going back to people being scared to start and do, it's do whatever you like, have a single bit of track or loads. So yeah, you can stop yourself doing it by thinking too much. Yeah. So stop thinking.
Yeah, stop thinking, start doing.
Yeah. So Top Gun Maverick, don't think, just do. Or stop, don't think, just do. Yeah. So that's the waffle on that one.
Yeah, that's the waffle on that one, yeah, because you've obviously had your shunting layout project and all that. So
I enjoyed doing that.
Well,
to talk a little bit about it, it was initially, I want to do something, and it was, what can I fit on my desk area, which quickly turned out to needing an extra section to flip out the way, because actually I needed a bit more room for this point and that point, because again, when you start thinking about it, and then people are, oh, well, you'd probably have this and that, and suddenly I'm trying to make a bit of fun into something a bit more serious, and that can hold you back as well.
It can,
but I've enjoyed it, because my justification in my head is I was born in the 80s, and as I grew up, the blue diesel locos going around. And I like the idea of I've got plenty of these locos now to use them somewhere. And the loft layout, again, nothing's happening with that, so I need something. So having a shunting layout, and that's quite a common thing. Firstly, like to pick a video series to do, everyone likes a shunting layout. They want to see someone do it. So the series has been quite popular. I've had like 10,000 views on most videos, some not so much, but that was cool. So I thought, people are drawn into that, and it's told me on my YouTube stats of your regular viewers are watching this more than often. So thought, okay, that's cool, because I'm enjoying this, because I've got to enjoy it. I can't just go and do videos like some of the others that have had popularity, because there's a Double O Bill guy that does repairs, and he gets brilliant views. Like it's been on for like an hour or two, and it'll be like 3,000 views, and he's repaired an old whatever, or even something more recent. And I listened to him, and he's I think he's Scottish, and so I like listening to him because he's just talking about what he's going to check and that, and I was like, brilliant. So I'm not going to start doing those kind of videos. And you've got various other YouTubers that they've either got an audience and they like that person and what they're doing, and whatever they do, they will get good views. Or you've got just people just have followings and that, and some people do really good quality videos. And I mentioned this before, and you got that Model Railway guy does really well produced videos. Obviously, you've got Rob
from Little Wicket.
Little Wicket. He does lovely videos as well, and that stuff you're going to go back for that again, because you were entertained, you were presented well. And so with the shunting layout, I've done it more of a, hi guys, this is what I'm doing today, a little bit of a talk, hopefully offer someone like yourself, going to start to Model Railway stuff, how do you do that ballasting again? And we've seen probably about 1,000 ballasting videos online, but for some reason people still want to like and there might be a different way of doing it.
Exactly. I mean, everyone's got a different approach to things. Obviously Richard New Junction is doing a lot of scenic videos at the moment.
He's got a big layout he's been working on.
It's getting there, isn't it? You know, and he's threatening to start his O gauge layout again.
Really?
Which is
okay.
Did you see the photo he put up with that about 4 months ago?
Okay, is this the...
It was like, it's covered in leaves. I mean, somehow the rails have gone rusty, even though they're nickel silver and all that.
I didn't know that.
They're not rusty, but they've gone sort of
orangey.
They've gone very orangey, so a big quick clean up and that'll be fine. But I was like, shall I get the garden railway back out again? And I was like, that's not a 5-minute job.
No, that's commitment, isn't it?
We might see Richard back out in the garden again.
And on a nice day, he probably doesn't want to be in the garage getting hot.
Them 4 nice days we've had in the UK.
We have had 4 nice days.
4 nice days.
So we're filming today on the day that it's rained after. I think
we had a very nice weekend.
Sunday was like 27 degrees.
It's the 14th of May for anyone who's watching this later or whenever. You know,
2024.
2024.
The year we had sun. 4 days.
The weekend of sun.
Have you ever been interested in O gauge?
Yeah, I had an O gauge collection for a while. I've got rid of it now, I must admit. I had to be a bit more selective. But obviously in the last video we talked about 016.5 and how that's my next project layout.
That's
and,
right.
And now Bachmann have come out with NG7, which
I loved that when I saw that. That kind of makes you, because you could have a small layout for
which is 016.5 under a different name. The choice to do Corey Hunslet is excellent. They sold so well in 009. Hopefully they'll sell well in NG7/016.5. I know there's been some critics of it. A couple of YouTubers who like to sort of create beef have sort of gone out and said, "Oh, why are they doing this? Why don't they do that?" I mean, but I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I think it will sell well.
Yeah, I think it would be like with the 009. Some of the issues that I find with it doesn't always run as easy. I can't do slow shunting and things as easy unless I've got big, power cap in there if I'm running DCC. With DC, you have to run everything faster. It's not so fun. So 00 gauge running, we know runs beautifully. So I like the idea of it. And also to scratch build, you could build some lovely logos.
It's a very handleable scale as well. I mean, the 009, especially the wagons, the little slate wagons, these latest ones that Bachmann have done, they're fantastic. The Norwick flats, though, they're so small. I mean, they're smaller than N-gauge.
Well, to fit it on, and unless you've got kind of a 4-year-old's bare hands, it's difficult. And you're putting it on, and the ones that made it really, really nice to work on, there are maybe some negatives in regards to shunting, is Western Wagon Works. Western Wagon Works. They've got the magnetic couplers. So when I was at the Statfold show, I think Chris, I think there's two Chris's.
Chris and Chris.
So one of the Chris's came over, not the one with the hat.
Not Chris Hunt.
Okay, the other one.
Chris Bauer.
Okay, so he was very kind and he gave me some coupling strips. So I clipped them in because they clipped into individual things, and it was lovely, like connecting it all up, and then off I go. Because when you had the old corner that wants to knock something off, it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
So I was really grateful, and actually some of them ones that you did, you could go through massive articulation, like a double jointed one. So I'm very impressed with them. So go check them out.
Yeah, definitely. Great guys. Great guys, great product. And
you can see why they did it. Obviously, going right back to when I was a kid, when I had my Brio. It's like you connect them up with magnets, and it was nice and easy.
Yeah, God, that's a throwback, isn't it? Yeah, I've still my. This is a long-winded one. My mum's partner's grandchildren play with my Brio.
Because is it Big Jigs? What's it called? I can't remember the name, but there's a modern company that makes a lot of things for it now. I've forgotten the name of it. But yeah, they make basically the Brio lookalike stuff that interacts with it perfectly. Yeah, but they do some really nice models. Well, I call them models, but you'd have like trafficking out you get your Mallard.
I had a Brio Mallard when I was a kid, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. Then when I looked at it, like after it's only a 460. What's going on?
You get cheated. It's like I can't remember where I was, but there was this little toy that came with this set, and it was a James, and didn't have the right wheel sets. The wheels are out, the cranks were out of order, and there was nothing joining them up. And I was like, "Come on, guys, you could have tried a bit harder." They made a mold tool for that, They would have spent money.
Someone's actually spent money on it and still done it wrong.
So it's Hot Wheels. It'd be fine.
But they're great. Westall are great. They support us with Statfold, and they've been so supportive, so great.
You see them most places.
They do. They do most of the big exhibitions. They were at Ali Pally with us, and I think they were at Doncaster. Yeah, they were at Doncaster. And of course they're at Key Model World Live, and we always have a great laugh, great chat with them.
Going back to shows, like you notice people that aren't there. So and I really like Rapido. So I was hoping to see them there when I went to the NEC, and I think when I went to Doncaster, I think they were there either, because I remember seeing them at the NEC at Worley. Last time I saw them, I met one of the engineers there and chatted to them and showed them some stuff I made. And that was cool because they have their prairie they're doing.
They're doing a small prairie.
Small prairie. So I was hoping to maybe see something more up to date with it.
I genuinely would like to see Rapido at more shows. I mean, I've asked them every year to come to Statfold, and for whatever reason they've not been available. And it's one of them.
Like, obviously,
Andy and Dan and all that we have good relationships with, and Chris, I think Chris and Stephen, and there's a good bunch of guys at Rapido. But
they had a lovely stand when I went to the NEC. That was 2 years ago. I didn't go to the last one.
They've done both NEC. They were at Ali Pally, and they were at Bristol. Surprising, we didn't do Bristol this year. I felt Key Model World Live and then Bristol the weekend after, and also Statfold. That would have been 3 shows in 4 weeks, and it was a bit too much. And I mean, to be honest with you, Statfold and Key took it out of me. It took me about.
Did you feel a bit burnt out?
I felt
afterwards?
very burnt out. Yeah. It wasn't.
To wake up Monday morning and think, should I go in? You're like, I don't want to.
It was more taking the rental van back and stuff like that.
You still have to do that. Yeah.
But it was at the end of the day. We would have liked to do Bristol. Maybe there'll be room to do Bristol again in the future.
Yeah. I went there one time a number of years ago. And
yeah.
You were there, weren't you?
Yes, I think, pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to go, and then I said to my girlfriend, do you want to go down towards Bristol or whatever? Yeah. We went down there and then went off to Bristol.
Yes, I remember.
That was good.
Yeah. So. I mean, and we have the social side of Bristol's great. We sort of go out with Malks Models and TTC Diecast and the Westhill lads, and that's always good fun. And the same at Statfold, we have the evening exhibitors train, so again, you go out with these guys again. Brett from Malks Models got thrown out of the bar at Statfold Barn.
What did he do wrong?
He's a bit raucous.
Oh, okay.
But he's great. We love Malks Models. Great guys.
I've been to their shop twice because Phil, one of the guys I used to work with, it's in his he lives in Whatnot area.
Yeah.
So he's Malks Models, and he goes in there.
Great shop. I mean, we're a model railway shop. They are a model shop.
Yeah, because they've got the RC cars and things. They had them when the NEC show. We had the cars out, and I thought, cool. So that was fine doing my work. So it's nice to see.
Yeah.
Or not sometimes.
I can't get away from this stuff.
That's it. But yeah, so obviously we mentioned shows. You talked about Doncaster. You enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You've had Statfold more.
Yeah.
Like that was April.
Statfold was April the 13th, 14th.
How was that?
The actual show was amazing.
Yeah.
We had a great weekend. Great support from the traders, the layouts, and the public. I think we actually had a record attendance by Statfold's records, which I'm always a little suspicious of the numbers. I think the best intention in the world, I sometimes think their counting is a bit off.
Oh, okay. They miss every other.
But we had. Well, I think it's one of the things because of people coming in paying on the gate. I think sometimes the numbers do get a little bit lost in translation. But we had great numbers, and it was a great. The actual event was great. It was all the things that have gone on around it, especially this year, have been. It's been hard.
Yeah. Because you've got the behind the scenes kind of stuff that sometimes causes trouble for you.
Yeah, this year's been particularly unpleasant.
Because the elephant in the room is obviously
the elephant in the room
there was Wally lost theirs. Yeah. And obviously now there's an intention.
Wally gave theirs up. They didn't lose theirs, did they? Let's face it. And that's fine. You can do what you want. And it's not so much what's happened, it's how it's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, no one approached me or Joey, my co-organiser. Joey's appeared on a couple of our videos in the past. And if the phone had been picked up at any point before the deal was done and said, look, because Wally are now claiming it was Statfold's idea. Statfold haven't really given me the answers I want. Statfold, there's people at Statfold who have been great, not going to complain. There's people at Wally members, there's a lot of you who are great. There's no bad blood between me and you. It's just the people who have done this deal. It's just one of them things. If it had been done properly and we'd been approached properly, we could have bounced ideas around. We could have come up with something.
Let's make this work.
We could have worked together. We could have made one really good show.
Yeah. So the reality is they want to continue Wally, but at Statfold.
And no one quite knows the truth about it. I don't think we'll ever know the truth. But
is it in the same kind of time, like in November, or are they trying to take your April slot?
Well, the irony is they're going in October now, the same weekend as Great Electric Train Show.
Okay.
Now I must admit, Mike Wilde and the guys at Key Publishing, when that got announced, I genuinely was expecting an email from Mike or Julie or Brody or Matt, whoever from Key Publishing, saying we're not doing it now because this clashes with our event. But God bless them, they still supported us at Statfold. Only a fortnight before Key Model World Live, they bought an extra layout as well. So massive hats off to them for that. And to all those of you out there who have shown support and said this isn't, you guys aren't, I've got to choose my words carefully. I don't want to say anything too nasty, but there's been a lot of you customers, traders, layouts who have said, we're on your side basically, and that support means the world. That's fantastic. So massive thank you for that.
Yeah, I guess the hard thing is you put a lot of effort in to build up something, and
without being big-headed, cocky, arrogant, whatever. Me and Joey it's our event. We created it. We took a blank piece of paper and we gave the Model Railway World to Statfold, and vice versa. We gave Statfold to the Model Railway World. No one at Statfold had thought about doing a model show before me and Joey came along.
So what does that mean for like next April? Does that mean nothing's going to happen?
It's been a roller coaster because of all that had gone on and the way it had gone on. Me and Joey had both said that's it, we're out. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even want to do this year. I was ready. I mean, Joey pulled me back into this year, and James from Statfold, who is a great bloke, all time in the world for James, basically both of them taught me into doing this year, kind of thing. And then on the Friday morning, it was like, no, never doing another one of these again. And then we saw our friends who got trade stands and layouts, and like I said, the general public who came and loved it. And as the weekend went on, we got more and more, let's do another one, one. And then things got said again by certain people who we won't name on the video because it's not worth naming, and it's kind of put me back to square one. I'm not going to speak for Joey because it's not my place to, because I've not had a chance to gauge his opinion in the last couple of weeks.
So it's kind of
so we kind of need a meeting with Statfold. I think we will be back doing another one. We just got to get some assurances. It'd be a shame to give it up now, especially when so many people love it. If people, I mean, there's going to be people that hate it. You can't please everyone, but
it's every event's different. And like, so I went not last year, year before. It's always, unfortunately, I work that weekend quite often. The year it was on, it was good. And I filmed it. We went on the Loco with Joey and as a giggle, and it was just a nice environment. Like you got the split down the middle, and the bit where you have the engine shed all the way up.
And we had a new building this year as well, where the platform is where you board the trains at Strawberry Park. There's a building there now, which we had all the narrow gauge layouts in there. So we had a little all the narrow gauge layouts and a HO layout, because we thought it was HO narrow gauge, and it turned out to be normal HO.
They're probably thinking, why?
So when the bloke turned up on the Friday, he was like, oh yeah, that's a HO narrow gauge layout. Narrow gauge? I was like, Joey, you
so
told me
was that European or American?
It was American. It was very nice layout. It was viewed from three sides, which was very nice. Which we had to make a little adjustment to the floor plan.
Okay, did you put him in the main hall, or
he ended up in the narrow gauge? He was all right with that. I don't think I think it just caught me a bit by surprise when I said it was a narrow gauge layout. And we had a couple of issues with a couple of layouts on the build up. We actually lost 2 layouts. Due to, I mean, Charlie Inslee, bless him, very long-standing member of the 009 scene, very excellent railway modeller, lovely guy. Unfortunately, he came down with COVID just before the event, so we didn't have Charlie. It is still around. Definitely still exists. It's not just something you read about in the Beano. It definitely still exists. He came down with COVID just before the event, and we were devastated because we really get on with Charlie, and we lost Lee Thompson's layout, which has been coming for the last 2 years. All the electrics died on it literally the night before this show.
I'll just make sure it's working. No, it's not.
And I was sort of just banging my head against the desk when his email came through. But at the same time, we were kind of struggling for space a little bit, so it actually meant we could free up a bit of space to bring in
silver lining. Yes.
And we also lost one trader, Nick. I can't remember his partner's name now, but lovely people who run Latham Designs, who do the double arrows and things like that. You can buy like the sort of wall fixing kind of things and various bits and pieces. Very different, very specialist trader, and great people. And it was a shame we lost them. Luckily, I got to see Nick at Key Model World, because I'd not had a chance to reply to his emails, and I was like, I'm not in a sulk. It's all good. I just didn't have time, and that was nice. So hopefully if we do go ahead, well, I'm not going to say if, we will go ahead next year. We just got to sort things out with Statfold.
Things need to settle, and then conversations ahead.
I mean, the unfortunate thing about the Worley situation, going away from how it all happened, is because Key Model World Live is now a fixture in April. We're very conscious of the fact there's 2 shows in April in the same part of the world, and that's kind of not ideal, really. Because I mean,
sometimes people aren't always free on those weekends. Like myself, that one's not on, but I can do the weekend.
Yeah, of course,
But I understand your point.
But one thing me and Joey had said is, because we always wanted it in June originally. June was our sort of,
because of the weather, you're outside.
Statfold's a very outside venue. I mean, 3 years in a row we've been very lucky with the weather. very lucky. I mean, year one was cold but dry.
You forget it's England and April showers.
April showers, there's truth in that. And in fact, year two, we had horrific rain on the Friday, if you remember, and we had to rejig the car parking and all. In fact, this year we had...
Yeah, we weren't on the grass.
That's it, yeah.
It hadn't... I didn't get, obviously, affected. I turned up a bit later.
Yeah.
And then turns out there was barely anywhere to park, and we had to park up at the top.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and walk down.
And we had problems this year with the parking again, because although it was dry, the land was sodden.
Yeah.
So we had to park everyone up the top and try and bus them down.
Well, we had it was the tractor coach thing there.
Yeah, we didn't have that this year, unfortunately. So it led to a few issues. There are kinks and there are issues we need to iron out with Statfold Barn. And one thing that actually does draw me back about doing more Statfold Barns is I know I haven't got it exactly how I want it yet. There's still room to improve. There's still things to do. So there is that draws me back, kind of thing. I chasing perfection almost. You know,
well, there's nothing wrong with that if it makes it better for everyone else.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah. So it's been a difficult one this year, and it always is a difficult one. I never realised until I did it how hard running a model show is, and like we touched on earlier, that's why I was quite rude to Brodie Baxter from Hornby Magazine, who I don't think works for Hornby Magazine anymore. I think he's still within Key Publishing, but I was quite rude to him about Getz in the October before my first Statfold in the April, and I've said to him millions of times since, if I'd have known how hard running this show was, I'd never have spoke to you like that.
You can imagine we had to run Doncaster, like the size of that, and all these other ones. You'd be like, alright.
I'd imagine the biggest headache ones are the NEC and Alexandra Palace, because those venues are, I wouldn't say they're hard to deal with, but they're a lot more. There's a lot more paperwork and a lot more. I don't want to use negative words, because I love going to Ali Pali. I love going to the NEC for model events, and they're very officious almost. There's a lot of like paperwork to fill out, a lot of this, that, and the other. Obviously, you've got voyage control at the NEC to get you in and out, and all that makes life a little bit harder for people traders and exhibitors attending, and the organisers organising. Whereas Doncaster Racecourse is a bit, and Statfold and place are a little bit more informal.
Well, the NEC is an exhibition centre, so
they've
been here for so many years, and they've got systems that work for them. I guess.
And the system seems to always get slightly harder every year.
You've probably got someone else with a new bright idea comes in, and we'll do that. Another bit of paperwork to fill out.
I loved Hall 12. I thought the venue for Key Model World Live was great.
I didn't know it was going to be in the different hall. I followed the sign for the car park, and then I thought, well, I don't recognise this. I must be really far from...
we're in the north car park, which is not far from the north entrance.
It was nice, because before, it's that bit of a trek.
It's such a trek.
Around the lake and everything. And actually, some of the age groups that go into these things, they're not going to appreciate that.
No,
So even though this was a little bit of a walk, it wasn't bad at all. But no, for me, obviously the show at the NEC was nice. I saw obviously yourself was there, and obviously Boston Dave, which was nice. I saw Dan Everson. It was the first one that I saw, and lovely to see him. He's looking for batteries, because he had some of his dioramas up, because it was scale modelling.
Exactly, which he ticks all the boxes on that, doesn't he? Bless him. Yeah. I
saw Richard there. He gave me a little. He called it the. I was a winner of a prize, so I had a wristband, just to help get me as a thanks, Richard. I don't think it gets him in trouble.
I doubt it will. No.
Yeah, so that was nice, because I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I wasn't really feeling it. I felt a bit burnt out with the hobby. And he randomly messaged me, "Oh, you come to the thing?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, Richard." And I was like, because obviously you've got car parking costs and stuff like that to pay for. And he's like, "Well, if you book early, it's £5 cheaper." I'm like, "Oh, fine." There was that, and then he got me in, and the fuel. I drove very carefully there, so I didn't use too much fuel. Just a point to myself to make it as cheap as possible. But once I got in there and I started walking around, and I chatted to a few different people, and a few people that have seen the channel, they came and spoke to me.
We had quite a bit of that over the weekend.
It was nice. There was one gentleman. He probably doesn't watch my channel. If he does, hello. I went over to see Richard, and he was arguing with him over the Mark IIs, how certain bits went right on them. And then when I came over to your stand, because Boston Dave popped out, and then he bought two from you afterwards. So I thought maybe they've won the argument, proved to him that it is good.
I'd like to think they have. I mean, the Acura Scale Mark II is an incredible product. It really is. I mean, there's very few products in the hobby now that aren't incredible, but the Acura Scale Mark II is superb.
Just stands out, and you think, oh, okay, wow.
I really like the fact we talked about magnetic couplings earlier. The fact that they come with tension locks and magnetic couplings.
As an option, you can.
That's a great touch.
Right.
Yeah. As well
cool.
as like the working lights and what have you.
Yeah.
I mean, the only trouble is keeping them in stock. They just sell.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a great big box full of them at Key, and the only things we came back with pretty much were the TransPennine ones and a couple of network Southeast.
Is that just that's less popular? Like,
it's a bit more niche TransPennine, whereas blue and grey is blue and grey.
Everyone knows that.
You can run
I might even get one of you at some point.
Yeah, well, there's a few left up there. The last odds and sods, and then there's the
TransPennine one I can have, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple of blue and greys, and then there's the Mark II Cs to come out, which hopefully will be out in the next few weeks.
Okay.
And hope
So what's I don't know too much about that coaches, and obviously they're going to be different for various reasons. So what's been out and what's coming out then?
So we've had the Mark II-B, which is obviously the second or third iteration or whatever of them.
And what does that mean? So that's basically they've made it better.
They're just as British Rail basically changed the design.
And in an era as well, I guess, right? So you would be having Cs in a certain era.
C's probably, I guess C's are kind of mid-70s onwards or whatever.
What would I have on my shunting layout? If a coach happened to have come in, what would I have on my... So I'm like 80s, 90s is
80s, 90s. Well, you could have a Mark II-B, because obviously they didn't get rid of all the Bs as soon as the Cs came in. Or you could have a C... I mean, I think by the time you got to the 80s, all the Mark IIs were done. Kind of thing. There was no more advancements to make on Mark IIs, because you obviously had... I think they go up to F, so I think Mark II-F is the highest you get.
Yeah, so the evolution is the letter number, really.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the later in the alphabet, the letter, the more.
And they improved things for like door handles, lighting, various fittings and things.
The E's and F's had things like air conditioning and stuff like that. So
that must be lovely, like when that started coming in.
It's a double-edged, isn't it? Because I mean, there's at the same time the E's and F's had air conditioning, but you couldn't open the windows anymore. So
that's true. So, everyone loves a bit of fresh air.
Fresh air is nice to have, And of course, ironically now, coaches like that are a mainstay of railway preservation. Well, not a mainstay, but they're a regular site.
Well, when you see them, that coach is nice. Like, when I was younger, obviously before I got into modern railways again, obviously as a kid, it was just, it's a coach. But as I've got older, you see certain details. And think, that looks nice. It's a nice looking coach. To anyone else, they'd be like, but it's just a...
It's interesting that the Great Central, we've just returned. Well, the guys at Carriage and Wagon do a fantastic job. They're amazing team at the Carriage and Wagon at the Great Central. I've just returned a Mark I to blue and grey livery. So
so it's become
it's coming round. I mean, when I was a kid, you went to Preserve Railways late 80s, early 90s, and they were running blue and grey Mark I's or Network South East livery Mark I's, whatever just come out of traffic. People used to turn their nose up.
And now not even tried.
Now we're returning them back to blue and grey. It's kind of doesn't make sense, really.
But I guess as time goes by, things become classics.
It's the evolution, isn't it?
But the fact that you got intercities now.
Oh yeah.
Was it last year they were running on the Severn Valley?
Yeah, I think there's going to be HSTs running at this year's Severn Valley Diesel go.
I actually would like to go and do that, because when I was a kid, I used to see them going up and down the line a lot, with the swallow on the side and everything.
Nostalgia's not what it used to be.
Yeah, but it's nice. It's nice for me because when you're obviously look at this hobby, the generation of people doing it a lot. If you watch my channel, you've seen steam.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. I don't have that apart from heritage, obviously. I had certain things, and actually as I get older and old cars now, someone had a Mark V Fiesta in the car park the other day. He had some bad boy wheels and stuff, and I was like, oh, look at that! Like it was actually really nice to see. Whereas a number of years ago, I'm like, they're rubbish, So I absolutely I love the fact that there's certain things that are more appealing to me. I love the steam because as a little boy, we went to Didcot Railway and things with parents in Swanage or wherever, and there's this choo-choo train going around from a little boy to getting older, and I wouldn't know which ones I saw when I was younger, but it gives me a good feeling when I hear them going.
I think our first exposures, even our generation and the new generation, a lot of our exposure is still to steam. Because we get taken to heritage railways and all this. Because obviously people sort of this thing about, no one wants steam anymore because it's a dying generation. But we could go and find engines in steam if we went out. I mean, obviously probably not right now. But if we went out tomorrow, we could probably go, to several preserved railways and find an engine in steam.
Well, Swanage will be running backwards and forwards all day long. Great Central, maybe.
Swanage, Great Central, Severn Valley, North York Moors. We could, that's the big railways that have been running midweek. But even by the weekend, pretty much every heritage railway in the country will have a locomotive in steam.
And I think if they're able to manage to get going for still go for like 10, 20, 30 years, all the people that are going to flock to see it, because it's amazing, it's our history, it's a steam engine. I was explaining to my girlfriend actually when we were in Poland, because they had one of the locos there, and a guy was explaining about it, and she's like, how does it work? And I explained about, imagine your feet pushing this way, obviously that's the loco, and then you've got the cylinder, and then the air comes in here, pushes it that way, then it pushes it that way, and then there's a bit there, and that goes out the chimney. And then I was saying, when all these things happen, it'll be sucking through on the fire as well. And she was kind of, I could see she was clicking with it. She's like, that's amazing. It's like a living creature, it's just metal. So it feeds on water and fire.
It eats, it drinks, and you got that brief sensation of the blast of the chimney.
Oh, you can't
beat. And the genius that the brief sensation acts like a set of bellows, so it livens up your fire. I mean, that's incredible, you know.
When obviously we had I got to go on the foot plate with you that time.
Day with me,
and when obviously the grate opens and it's absolutely roaring through. That's stunning. And it's this colour that you couldn't even draw, like the glow of it and everything. It's this intensity that blows your mind.
White hot. You know, it's incredible. I mean, it's one of the things that, because I've done it for 14 years now, I think. No, 13 years I've been firing, 15 years I've been at the Great Central. You kind of take it for granted after a while, but when people see it, don't see it regularly or see it for the first time, it's kind of like you pick up on stuff like that, you know.
I remember what got me back into it again is I wanted to spend a bit of time with the family, and my dad and my brother, they always have these fantastic chats about model hours and the locos that I have no idea what they're talking about, and so I wanted to get into it, get a bit closer to them. And so I went to Dickett Railway with them, and I saw the locos, and I was really into engineering at the time with the RC cars and making parts, and I saw all of it, and I thought I could make one of these but small, and started making a little garden railway one. I haven't ever finished it, but I started doing, I did all the cylinders and the valves and everything, and through that it kind of it stems your interest. I'm trying to wonder where I'm going with this. Just basically the thing with steam engines, and anyone that's into engineering, seeing a steam engine, it's gonna click with them.
The whole the mechanics of the thing are incredible, you know, and it's a bit of a one-off, really.
And the people that don't understand what's going on, it's like magic watching it work and doing its thing. It's so fantastic, and you see kids when you go, they're either a bit scared and terrified, or they're just gobsmacked by what you're saying. So we are very lucky to have what we've got.
Big time. I mean, thanks to the modernisation plan and Dr. Beach and all that, we've got one of the biggest heritage networks in the world. Probably the biggest,
because we wouldn't have had an opportunity to grab them.
All these closed railways, you know, fantastic. You know, I mean, they're heritage railways now. I mean, we ended up with, you know, our own kind of steam safari parks, I think is how I've heard people describe them in the past.
That's it, because you travel around the world and there will be places like it, but it looks like we've got a lot.
Nowhere near in the volume we've got.
Because I went to the railway with Magda, that's my girlfriend, and I can't pronounce the name in Polish, but it was my last video that I did, and it was nice. It was very static. I think 2007 they took it on, and they've been working on making things nice and everything in there. And it's kind of like, imagine they were able to get a bit of line and run up and down and get, because you didn't have to pay to go in as well. You could put a donation at the end. And I was like, God, if they took a donation, I put quite a bit of money in there because I had some money in my pocket, so I put it in, because they had a little they didn't have a toilet. They had a they had a toilet, but it was one of the portable ones. I want to call them toys because that's what they call them over there. You know, the whatever they are.
The Portaloo.
Portaloo. That's the
like
one.
You see on the building sites.
So they had one of them, and I was just like, but they had lots of buildings to think. If they had a bit of money given to them, they could do it. And obviously, sometimes it takes grants and things like that to get these things going, but over there they don't have the following like we have over here.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping one day that will change for them over in Poland. Obviously Volsten's still running, but that's kind of still part of a money making exercise because people using it to get a service out of it. But hopefully more stuff like that happens. But I don't know what it's like in France and Germany. I've seen pictures and things.
They're very big into their heritage railways over there. I mean, German steam. I mean, you've got things like the Harz narrow gauge and stuff like that in Germany. I think there's a lot of main line steam in Germany and that kind of thing. But I'm not sure what the actual heritage railway scene is, rather than the heritage locomotive scene is. And the same with Ireland. There's quite a bit of narrow gauge, but there's not a lot of standard gauge. Their gauge is slightly wider, of course. But there's a lot of main line steam, but not a lot of actual preserved lines because they've not ripped up as many lines as we have.
As brutal as us.
It's all good.
No, it's nice. So obviously, good to support your local railways. So Nen Valley is put
Neen, whatever.
they put up a bit of an appeal.
Yeah, they've having a bit of a tough time of it at the moment. Obviously, they've been expecting Tornado first for Easter and then for late May bank holiday, and for a variety of reasons, Tornado's not ready. It's not as black and white as some people like to think. It's restoring an engine is even an engine that's as new as Tornado. There things go wrong, and the best intentions and all that just don't.
If you suddenly find a problem, you can't just fix it there.
You tend to find one problem tends to lead to another problem to another. Again, I don't want to say too much because it's not my place to, but I know certain things from knowing people in the industry, and it's not as black and white as some people think it is. But hopefully they'll get an engine in. Obviously they've got a Deltic there at the moment. People love Deltics; they're very popular.
They've got a little Polish loco they've run there as well. I loved it when I saw it.
But yeah, hopefully they'll get a crowd puller in, and that'll do them some favours. Hopefully people will visit and donate and whatever. I mean,
well, they've had the driving in city thing that you
the HST driver experience.
And they put a post out like most of the slots have been booked for it, which is good.
Yeah, which is good.
So that sounds kind of cool.
And they did it. They did actually something they did sell out recently. Was they did a driver experience with Thomas, their
Really?
Huntswell Clark 1800, and that was on the freight set. I think that's sold out quite quickly, so that's cool. I mean, thinking outside the box really is the key. I mean, a lot of heritage lines are having strife at the moment. Obviously, they're not being as public, but Great Central have had their problems recently. You know, been quite a few redundancies and all that, which is really sad. But you've got to be sustainable. I mean, in the current climate, I've got to start being sustainable with this place. You know, like, I mean, recently we switched to using Royal Mail Tract 48 rather than paying at the post office counter for first sign for. That's saving me £1.20 a parcel.
I see.
Don't sound a lot. Send 10 parcels. That's 12 quid. You know, so yeah, it's little things like that, and heritage railways have got to start tightening their belts a bit. You know, but if you can support them, go and support them. You know, whether it's through having a train ride, making a donation, volunteering, whatever.
I was trying to make sure I buy, even if it's just buying a couple of cakes when you're there and things, just all the little things.
I mean, we went down to Lamport the other day, which is now my Northampton and Lamport, which is now my local railway, and we had a meeting about something we'll discuss in a moment. But even then, me and Emily were waiting for the guys we're having a meeting with, so we sat and had like a cup of tea and a chocolate bar, bit of cake, whatever, and just that puts. Well, I don't know, best part of a tenner in the box.
I've got that from time to time because it's only around the corner from my work. So I've been over there, and it's quite very pleasant there, and you've got a walk next to it.
Yeah, you've got the Brampton Valley Way, you've got Brampton Holt Pub next to Pittston Station, which is incredible.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, and they finally made it to Belton. They finally got the extension open, so that's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah, because apparently it was all getting built. And then COVID happened, and they didn't have anyone. The university that were involved doing it.
They stopped.
And then when it all got going again, that project was gone.
It's been a very long wait for Belton to open. Because I remember going in about 2011, and Belton was kind of, at a glance, looked like it wasn't far off. But of course, again, like we just said with Tornado, things on the surface, you don't know what's going on below. But they've made it. Belton Station's open. And
I've driven past and seen it all out there looking nice. I'm looking forward to maybe pop by there sometime soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, and
you need a good excuse.
A good excuse, We got the reason I was there last Sunday. We're doing a model event on June the 1st and 2nd, so not far away.
So a 2-day event.
2-day event, and it's we got not a lot. It's not going to be like a Statfold kind of thing. It's very much a small scale thing. There's going to be got 5 traders, about 8 or 9 layouts, about 9 or 10 5-inch gauge engines, which will be running up and down the platform at Pittsford.
Oh, nice.
And a few miniature traction engines and things like that. And there will be an engine in steam. The Class 31 will be running, so there'll be train rides. So it's kind of across the scale. It's a bit like Key Model World was trains, planes, radio controlled. This is all trains, but it's we've got the miniature railway element in as well, not just model railways.
Yeah,
so
this is a bit of a spectrum.
It's good. Yeah. We've been working with the guys there, with Will and Jack and Tom and Dan, and it's probably more people. If I forgot you, I'm very sorry. To try and bring the event together, and it's not going to be a mega event, but it'll be a very nice, pleasant weekend. Well worth.
It'll be a taster for them as well. Whether they want to do a bit more next time.
Exactly. We've kind of rushed this one. We do Statfold on a sort of last minute wing and a prayer. That's nothing compared to this one. I think we only really started properly about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, because you messaged me saying if I'd be free, and I was actually I don't see my girlfriend that often because she travels over, and it was the weekend she's coming over. But I'm going to come and have a look.
You're going to come and have
bring
a
my
look,
phone and do some recording.
Do a little video for us. No, there's so many people I've messaged who are already booked up, and you're like, oh God, if I'd had a bit more time. But we got a few layouts together. We're mainly local traders. We don't want to bring anyone from any distance because we don't know what the footfall's going to be like. We don't know what the spend's going to be like. So you don't want to say. Let's say we brought in West Hill Wagon Works or Melks Models, who are both supported, or TTC Diecast, guys who are supported as well, at Statfold in the past. They'd have to come distance, they'd have to book accommodation, all this, that and the other, and if they don't get any sales, it's going to be a lot of expense for not a lot of money, where we've got kind of five local guys come in, localish guys come in who can, drive there and all that, and not have to, if we don't take much, we don't make much, But it's an experiment. It's going to be interesting how it goes. It's good to be working with a new railway. We're looking forward to it. Yeah,
and you're in the Northampton area.
We're in the Northampton area, so hopefully Emily will be able to come down and sort of help out during the day, and our Yorkshire Terrier, I'm sure she'll come and help. Definitely not hinder.
Yeah, for those that obviously haven't been to Northampton Airport, like you said, there's the pub. Yeah. There's a nice walk on the outside, so it's kind of a nice day out. Nice day out.
If we get a weekend like the one we just had, it'll be superb.
Well, hopefully it's in June, which is the sunniest month of the year. We never know what we're going to get over here.
We'll pop a link in the description to the Northampton Lamport website, so you can check out what's going on there as well.
You'll be setting up on the Friday night, going up to it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I should probably I might even set up Saturday morning, to be honest, because it's so close to my house. And just get up and roll down. I should be there Friday afternoon to help other people set up, but I might do my own stand on the Saturday.
So that's in the railway facility itself.
That's right. Yeah. So the main car park will be where the marquee is, with the layouts and the traders in, and then the overfill field will become the car park. So hopefully it stays dry, so we don't end up with
the tractor pulling someone out.
I went to a car boot on Bank Holiday Monday on a lookout for some stock. It was kind of a fruitless mission. I picked up a train set that probably will end up being spares or repairs as much as anything else, and a couple of Hornby double wagons, but. It was a nice sunny day, but of course it'd been raining pretty much all week, and there was a lot of cars getting stuck in there. So I was kind of like, oh no.
Yeah, I had that when I went to. It starts with an S.
Starts with an S. That narrows it down.
Yeah, it does. It does. It was a show I went to. It was on time of like when Gaydon and stuff was on last year. It was going.
Spalding.
Yeah, and everyone was getting stuck in the car park, to my point. Obviously, it wasted us having to think about something, but I just thought, I'll be fine. And then I had three people pushing me out. Very kind car parking staff. But that was a nice show.
Yeah, I've never done Spalding, but it gets good reviews and all that. So
So they had a very large layout in the middle of one of the rooms, and it was kind of nice. Lots of people packed around. So it wasn't easy to see. But they had a very long narrow gauge layout, which was cool.
Right. Cool.
And then loads of people running it. One that goes there, another one goes there, and that was pretty good. So I did enjoy that.
Something we had just come into mind. Something talk about long layouts and big layouts. Something we had at Statfold this year, which was quite cool, was Laurie Rose, Laurie's Mechanical Marvels.
Yes.
Him and his sort of gang built like modules. Yeah. And
I watched some of the
together.
videos.
And Laurie did a video series on it, and then did a video of the show and all that. And I'm glad I saw the video. I'm glad I didn't go into the Roundhouse on Friday night. Because Joey was coming over and going, they're still not ready, and I was like, whatever, and then I saw Laurie's video and I realised how not ready they were. If I'd have seen that on Friday night, I'd have probably had kittens. But I spent most of Friday in the arena, and Joey and Will, who who was at Statfold, was also working on his Northampton Lamport. He's very much the brains behind that, kind of the exhibition kind of. He was helping me and Joey, so they were going over to the Roundhouse and stuff, and I was like, they were coming back going, oh no, I was like, I'm just exaggerating. And then
the nice thing with Laurie, even if it didn't work, he'd be entertaining people when they come over.
I think the thing with Laurie is people expect it not to work, don't they?
Yeah, they enjoy themselves.
The fact it actually worked was kind of a kind of a surprise, really, and. I mean, he's got the gift of the gab, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've got to know him a little bit over the past year and a bit. I met him at Statfold.
He's a very likeable guy.
He's been very nice on
and all the guys who work with him, kind of thing, they're great. They're a great bunch. They're very friendly, very keen to help and all that.
Yeah,
and they're brilliant. Yeah.
One thing we like with the hobby for our age group is having more people like Laurie kind of talking about the hobby and things like that to get more people like us into it. Because the age group, they're always talking about, you know, it's going away with the age group. But there's a lot of people that are getting into that age group all the time and still enjoying it. And actually, I'll be getting to that age group in, 20 years? I'll be well and truly kind of up there with the people that currently watch, like 55 to 65 is kind of my main audience.
It's okay.
On my thing. That's my top audience, like 25%. And I'm sure every time people get towards that age group they fancy, I'll have a model Rari when I'm older.
We do notice it in here a lot. You know, you get that kind of... You can almost sort of do the speech kind of thing that you get is, the kids have left home, I'm not working as much as I used to, I'm on a hobby kind of thing. And some of them, they'll come in and they'll talk to you for about half an hour and you'll go, right, here's your starter set, here's your Pico extension pack, or, you know, and here's your Batman engines as a second hand through there if you don't want to spend so much, blah, 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 blah. And you'll never see them again. And then there's some come in and they're hooked, kind of thing, and they'll spend an absolute fortune, which is good for me.
Met quite a few people, either through the channel or just friends that are a bit older. They talk to me about it. They've always fancied it, and one day I'll do. And you're like, cool. So I always say, have you done it yet? Then I'm not yet. Or no, I bought some locos. Oh, cool. Okay, it's in a box up in the loft.
That's it,
I've got some baseboards, and I actually met up with a guy. I don't know if you remember me talking about it or not, but I met a guy at the Kettering Model Railway show from last year who came via Morrison's. But he lived in Coventry. So he had a very long... I think he popped out, going to Morrison's and drove over to Kettering from Coventry. And he talked to me about that he's got some boards up and stuff like that. Anyway, I saw him again at the Key Model World show.
Okay, good.
And he said hello, and I was like, I recognised him, and he reminded me of, okay, and he was chatting about it. He's still interested. He still hasn't quite got it all up, but he's still collecting. He's still getting bits. He's got an interest but he's in that age group. He's not quite in the age group of where you've got that time, but there's an interest and they have disposable income.
That's true enough. I mean, time is the enemy, isn't it? I mean, I'd love to invent an 8-day week, then I could.
Well, there used to be back. Apparently, it's the Roman calendar had an 8-day week.
Did it?
And it was like the market day, the 8th day, and apparently it got changed back. It's like when we had 10 months in a year.
Which
2 more got added in. I can't remember what months it was got added in, but obviously September should be the 7th month. October
and so on and so on.
And so so we could go back to then, but we might have 3 weekends then, which would be cool.
We could have New Year's Day on when it should be on March the 21st.
That's true actually.
That's when it should be spring solstice. That's where April Fools and all that comes.
And we'd all be living to like 110, 120, whatever, because 2 months and then 100 years. So
gonna live forever or die trying.
That's it. Leave a legacy.
Indeed.
That's what a lot of people try and do. So talking about obviously we talked about the shop and various things, but one thing I've noticed, and I grab one because it's so cute. I've got a Class 08 TT logo here, and obviously we're not sponsored by Hornby or anything like that.
Definitely not.
But we all have interest in new things, don't we?
Well, and it's great to have it in the shop at last. It really is. I mean,
because it was a point of contention initially, wasn't it, when it got
just so
launched?
Disappointing. It was so disappointing.
So you couldn't have it.
Here's this fantastic new idea we've had.
It's like that long.
You know,
I've got a longer one here.
We've got an A4 there, which unfortunately because of the packaging you can't really see it. They haven't got that nice sort of picture on the outside of the box.
It's the same length as kind of like a small Prairie in double O gauge. It's that kind of nice, and that's the biggest loco you're going to have.
I mean,
so it's a bit weight to the packet as well.
The quality is superb. The actual models are amazing. There's not enough of them yet. I think a few people have said this. I actually think I found myself agreeing with a certain popular YouTuber, and that doesn't happen very often, that he said there's just not enough out there.
I guess what you could relate to is if you go back to Triang days and stuff like that, and they'd have the same loco painted in 10 different ways. And then you had the big loco and then a diesel.
That's it.
So I guess they need time, but also they've invested a lot into it. But maybe their approach to launching it didn't help them then.
That's the problem.
Reinvest.
A great idea done terribly. And if anyone from Hornby is watching this, I hope they don't mind me saying that. But obviously we're on a different management team now anyway. The fact that it wasn't in the shops, and there were a few brutal moves to keep other manufacturers out of the market. I mean, obviously Haljan wanted to come in and
they announced something initially.
They announced
didn't they?
a 31 in 08 and a 100 at austerity, and Hornby announced an 08 in their first run, and that was kind of, you could see that coming. And then they made an announcement saying, "Oh, next year we're going to make a 31, and the year after that we're going to make a 100 austerity." And Howgen just put their hands up and said, "No, this isn't for us." That's how I understand it. That's how it appears.
I would pick it up myself and do a small project if they had little pannier. Something like that coming out. I don't know how interesting that is to them, but it's that kind of staple loco that a lot of people mind.
I mean, they've announced a J50 now. They've actually announced a small engine. So
that's nice, but it doesn't excite myself.
It doesn't do it for me.
I'm down a certain route, but
I'd prefer an LMS 3F tank, superstar little Jocko.
I'd probably be into that though.
Yeah, and that would be cool. I must admit, like you were saying earlier about your shunting layout is your 1980s. My temptation with TT would be, because the Class 50 is coming out, and they're proposing 31s, 37s, 47s, would be to do a 1980s layout of thing. And of course, there's the HST.
And again, it doesn't actually, if it's a shunting layout and you're going to be bringing things in,
of course.
That's it. You could have quite a small layout. And obviously, you give it some time, and
probably end up being a depot layout, I'd imagine.
You could have loads of locos. It'd be nice. Something for the future, really. At the moment, obviously, I'm not doing too much of what I've got. So.
I mean, at the moment with TT, if you like LNER Pacifics, you're all right, or HSTs. But if you want something different, you're a bit. I mean, the Duchess is due out soon, and the Class 50 is due out soon. But again, they're big locos again.
And I think obviously what they've released is that kind of train set style.
It's a very train set vibe,
which I guess will get people into it. The unfortunate thing is once they're into it, and they do get hooked. Oh, okay, well, I can't do this and. Have I spent the money on the wrong thing? But maybe they haven't because they're into it.
Yeah. I mean, I've already had one customer trade in his TT that he'd not bought from us. He bought it online from when they first announced it because he'd got fed up of waiting for more to come out. And that is the problem at the moment. It was kind of the problem with 009 when that first came out, when there was only the Baldwins and the Howgen engines that don't like corners.
It doesn't feel like that's a problem anymore in regards to... a hobby that it might not grow that part of the hobby, that branch, and it feels like we're kind of spoiled a bit in a certain degree now.
I mean, as a 00 modelers, I mean, if I detach myself from being the shopper, if I came in here today, if you came in today going, I want a new engine, in 00 you're spoiled for choice. You could find something you wanted. Even in Engage now, Graham Farish have released loads of things recently. Dapple are releasing. We've got new manufacturers like Revolution and Rapido who are releasing. You're spoiled for choice in 00 and N. O-Gauge is growing, 009's growing. TT kind of needs to grow now. If it's to be sustainable, if it's to last, TT
now it's in shops. It might be that other manufacturers might go, do you know what? Now it's more accessible.
I can see another manufacturer taking the bait, but I don't know who it's going to be.
But they're probably just, I guess, a dabble to begin with and see, how's this going to go.
It's what you do kind of thing, isn't it? I think we need another manufacturer in TT. I mean...
I'd love it if a cruise scale just made a small pannier. So they're doing their current...
They're doing their 00 pannier, aren't they? So
if they did a small one. It's not as simple as shrinking everything down because certain things won't be able to get made, but they've got a lot of the data there of the loco drawn and they've got a few things that they've got going on and they've got... I know, so...
It's, I mean, I heard a rumour, and it could only be a rumour, that Bachmann were looking at TT many years ago and to do the new 47 tooling in 00 TT and N-Gauge, but
what before the Hornby?
Before the Hornby
announcement. So would they have done the 120, or do you think they would have done
I have no idea.
Because that's one of the talking points, wasn't it? That Hornby have gone with their aboard stuff. So they're matching up with the European things that they do in that.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with trying TT and 3mm scale was it was so out of scale when you ran it on 12mm track. It was, I mean, it don't have to be a mathematician to work out that's 4-foot gauge track when you scale it up. I mean, if 00 had disappeared for 55, 60 years like TT has done, we wouldn't come back 00, we'd come back HO. Yeah. I mean, 00 it's the VHS and Betamax thing. With 00 is very much the British scale, isn't it? And I love 00. I think it's fantastic, but obviously it is quite out of scale, really, if we're honest. So yeah, I fully support the decision to come back with the European scale, the 2.5 mil to the foot.
And if I want to run a HO loco with my 00, it's not going to look right. Whereas you can actually do that with TT. You can run the two. They're both the same scale, right?
The European stuff is.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I thought you meant running the old stuff with the new stuff.
So I'm just saying, like, if you want to have, let's say someone made a big boy, that could actually go and run.
It would be exactly the same scale as your 08 or your 04. I mean, it would absolutely monster over it.
It would be cool to see, though, wouldn't it?
I had a River Rossi big boy in HO, and that monstered over all my 00 engines, even though it was $500,000 to the foot less.
Yeah.
Probably the one problem with TT120 and the scale factor is it does pull it quite close to end gauge, being 2.5
That's
mil.
it. So if someone didn't know TT existed, you look at that. If you said that's end gauge, you go, oh, okay, but you have to think of this. But that looks a bit big, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of, whereas the old Triangle stuff 3 mil was straight down the middle. This is kind of, it's a lot closer to end.
because you got 2, 4, and 3.
Yeah. I mean, the other option would have been to do 3 mil to the foot and do 14.2mm gauge track, but when the European market already exists and has its various products that can relate to both, it would have been a foolish decision to go down that way. So it is the right decision.
Yeah, I guess for their outlay, they've already got track maybe in existence from the other stuff.
I'm sure
knowledge at least.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, but it's just really nice to have it in the shop at last, and when people come in, go in.
It's cute when you see it on the shelf.
Yeah, I want to do TT, and it's like, well, sorry, I can't help you. Now it's I can sell you a few Pico wagons and a bit of flexi track. Now it's a case of, brilliant, we've got sets, we've got locos, we've got coaches, we've got wagons.
So remember, you got all the Pico stuff in when it all first kicked off.
Well, yeah, then it was
maybe with a bit of hope that
you'll get it.
Yeah,
Pico announced it, and they did a little bundle package that retailers could have, which is great when a new product comes out. There is a bundle package.
Here you go. You don't have to select stuff. This is what
exactly. And we thought brilliant, and then of course Howden announced the 31, and we looked fantastic, brilliant. There's a loco.
Exciting.
And I think Gauge Master were going to do with Howden a class 66 as well. So and I think that would have been available to retailers like the Gauge Master collection engines and wagons are. And then it was like Sunday, this Hornby announcement came out. And even then, when I first saw the Hornby announcement, I was scrolling through thinking, this is amazing, this is going to be brilliant. And I'm looking at my emails thinking, where's the order form? Not had an order form yet. And I'm still scrolling, and I see at the top, web exclusive. And I was like, oh, great, I can't have this then.
And I guess you and every other model shop had this deflating feeling when they realised.
it wasn't nice, and a bit like the Statfold and Morley situation. The communication wasn't there. Things were done without saying things, and there were some quite unpleasant scenes at certain times. I managed to keep out of it, but I remember being at an exhibition where there were clashes between certain individuals. We won't name them on here. If they want to make themselves known in the comments, they can do if they're watching, but I'm not going to. Those names won't come from my lips, you know. So yeah, and then obviously there's been management changes at Hornby, and now TT is in stores, and it's nice. Yeah,
I heard I can't remember who said it, but the clothing shoe company involved with Hornby. They bought parts of it.
Mike Ashley, Sport Direct.
That's it, Sport Direct. I don't want to start coming out with a name I can remember. Yeah, so
any Newcastle United fans watching probably won't be very pleased to see him. He used to own Newcastle United Football Club.
Right. Yeah. So
he wasn't a popular chairman. Let's put it that way.
Let's hope he really loves model railways.
If Gavin Thompson, of course, is watching, Gavin, he's a big Newcastle fan, and I think his words when Mike Ashley invested in Hornby were, he ruined my football team. Now he's trying to ruin my hobby.
So because apparently Hornby have brought into some more gaming industries. I don't want to start mentioning the company that is just going to get it wrong. But there's a bit more dabbling going on by the look of it. So be interesting to see what happens over the coming years.
Definitely. I mean, they were going to dabble in wargaming. They were going to do some like Doctor Who style wargaming things.
There's a lot of fantasy type games out there. So.
I remember them getting launched, and then they never seemed to get released. We went down when we used to go down to Margate for the previews, which stopped because of COVID and have never restarted, which was sad. It used to be a good day out going down to Margate for the day and having the range launch.
I've always fancied going down there.
Yeah, we went 2 or 3 years, and it was great fun. Like play on the scale electrics and stuff like that.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah. Have you still got that set in here?
I've still got the Grand Prix Challenge set with the two, like Senna versus Senna, basically. And there's a couple of cars all off shot. Unfortunately, there's a Nigel Mansell Williams up there. Since the tiering system got abandoned by Hornby, we stopped stocking scale electrics as such, but we will get it to order for people. There's a guy from Northampton who's a big model railway guy and also a big scale electrics guy. We order cars in for him, just whatever he wants, basically. So yeah, we can always order stuff like that in, but keeping it in, just haven't got room for it in here. And guys like Brett and Malk at Malk's Models, they stock scale electrics, and because they got space and they got established in that world, it works.
People don't go there for it.
Yeah.
Nice. So we've covered Hornby quite a bit there.
We have talked a lot about Hornby there, and it's interesting. Hornby are interesting at the moment. There's obviously transition going on because certain people have left and certain people have came in, and yeah, it's an interesting time.
And obviously they're very much in the limelight. They had a TV series covering them.
Yeah. Interesting TV series. I guess I never watched it.
No. I did watch it quite a bit. Because I'm interested in the engineering side of things. So it was nice to have a little watch of what they talked about.
I saw the adverts for it and thought, I don't really fancy this.
And like we talk about, you do this all day long. When you get home, it's not really the first thing you want to go and do.
It's not the first thing I watch. I tend to watch more real railways and things like that if I watch railway related content, you know. I keep up with some of the YouTubers and sometimes I dip in and out, you know. It's the same, I mean, as much for this channel, to be honest. There's some, and Richards and Rob's and various other people, you know. It's hard, you can't watch them all.
No, and like I didn't watch so much from the model railway stuff because I've got various other hobbies that I do as well, and like with my work stuff, there's lots of RC car racing things like that. I just
but you know,
you want to shut off a little bit from something. You enjoy it, but you don't want to be living in it all the time. So, that's cool.
What are we doing on the old?
Little time check.
Yeah.
Your laptop turned itself off.
Laptop's turned itself off. Bloody hell, it's about an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, that's all right. But we obviously
we said about an hour.
We're conscious of obviously taking your time.
We don't want to bore you lot too much.
Yeah, but we also want to keep them happy by, you know.
Well, we don't want to do just 5 minutes, do we? No, that's.
So obviously we have talked about it before. We'll try and get someone on next.
Yeah, we'd love to get. I mean, we got.
Have to get a third seat then, won't we?
You have to get a third seat. You have to go in a bigger venue.
Well, they could just
they could sit on our knees.
That's right.
That'd be
That'd be
But yeah, no, it's certainly. Tom Marshall wants to come and do a podcast.
I like Tom.
I like Tom. He's a great guy. Tom,
he's quite lovely actually. Like when you bump into him.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's hilarious as well. We have a great band. In fact, I will mention again. We'll put a link in for this. June the 15th at the Great Central Railway is Will Hay Day, which is something Tom has done for many years now, and a couple of the other guys in the Will Hay Appreciation Society, whatever they call themselves. Yeah, Will Hay Society. So Will Hay Appreciation.
What's it all about?
They're taking over the yard at Quorn,
and
they're going to have Will Hay themed like things. So they're going to show a couple of films. There'll be the merch and stuff, and generally a chance for fans of Will Hay to gather and sort of, you know, have
there must be a following there. So.
And of course, being at the Great Central, we can run trains. It's on Saturday, June the 15th. Normally, I'm working. I have put in to roster to crew on the day because again, Tom's a good friend and all that. So I might be on the footplay that day as well, which will be a bonus
say hi
for everyone.
Tony if you
say hi to Tony. Tom is threatening to dress me up as Harbottle.
Yeah.
From Owners to Porter, so that.
Yeah, because on his YouTube channel that he's got, go check out Buggles Kelly.
That's it,
and he's got the video in there. I went and watched after you told me about it, and that was nice.
Yeah.
Because he's got a small, actually again on the video from Key Model World, I explained that he sells all the bits. You can buy a station and convert
a station. You can buy the body kit for Gladstone. He's just working on the windmill from Mr. Porter.
Well, he put a little video up the other day. Yeah.
So. He does the 3D printed figures of the characters and a few, which will be stocking soon. Tom is branching out to have his product in shop, so we'll be stocking the figures soon.
He does good stuff. So,
he does very good stuff, and he does a
so his dad's army bits as well, isn't
he? That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess a future 3D print project would be to do Mannering, Wilson, Jones, etc., which would be nice to have on the layout.
I see it a lot in the O gauge. And I always like it when I see them.
Yeah. So he's got some good projects on, and these Will Hay days, they're a historic thing he's done, but hopefully this one will go well and we'll see him more regularly. Yeah.
So we got the one at Northampton
Lamport, June the 1st and 2nd.
And then 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, just on the Saturday, we've got Will Hay Day at the Great Central. That should be fun.
So hopefully see you there. I don't know if I'll make that one. I think I'm working that weekend.
Yeah,
but I'll have to double check.
But
I'll be over at Northampton Lamport. So if you see any of us, say hi.
Yeah, come and say hi. Come and have a chat. Come and buy something.
I'm not sure what day I'll be there, but we'll to be.
In fact, Tom is coming to Lamport, but only on the Sunday because he's got another exhibition on the Saturday. So
we have his flyers there as well.
So yes, there'll be some Hay Day flyers there, and he'll be selling his product on the Sunday. So
that'd be cool.
So that'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I suppose we might as well wrap up for now, as we'll have nothing to talk about next time.
Well, that's for sure. I'm sure something will happen. I'm going to try and do some videos. So I'm going to talk to you about that. Kind of been a few things that I want to work on and on the layout. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So you'll have a few stories to tell me.
I'm sure there'll be something to. I'm sure there'll be a few tales to tell and what have you. We'll try and get them a bit more regular for you guys. We'll try and get back into a pattern of. I don't know, maybe one a month, something like that.
Squeeze it in. Because the other thing that I'm doing now is I record everything with my mobile phone. So this is off my mobile phone. So that makes everything just... I just need my tripod. Bring it along, that's it.
I knew you told a joke then that's not for YouTube.
The adults will probably understand where you're going with that one. But anyway.
Also you guys, if you want us to talk about certain subjects, whether it's models, real trains, whatever, just comment below, tell us what you want, we're happy to oblige. If you want guests, if you want, whatever.
That's true, actually. They're like, you need to get, if we can get them,
those. I mean, obviously we might not be able to get Pete Waterman just yet.
No, don't think he'd be too interested in our little channel.
He's a nice guy though. We one thing we will talk about for this one, exhibitions and all that, on the Thursday of Key Model World Live, I got a phone call from Mike Wilde from Key Publishing, saying, "Oh, you're not going home early, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm getting ready for the show, Mike." Brilliant. What track you got in stock? I was like, I've got, what do you need? 00 fine scale? Yeah, plenty of that. Brilliant, I'll send someone over. And then 45 minutes later, Pete Waterman walks through my door because they hadn't got enough track hadn't got enough track for the fiddle yards on.
Did you have enough
on making tracks? I had more than enough for what they needed. And so that Guinness World Record is mine as far as I'm concerned.
If it wasn't for you,
if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have got it.
Well, good for you.
So that was quite cool. We had obviously Pete came to Statfold, and then he saw him. He came down and got the track. So we had a fortnight where we saw him quite a bit. Bless him. Yeah. No, that was cool. That was fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You hold a world record now. So.
I am a world record holder. Yes.
That's it. Has he paid for it?
He has paid for it. Yeah.
Double check. I can imagine he did.
That'd be Miss Please, Mr. Waterman. Do you know who I am?
It's for free. So you came with a name. It's a Rod Stewart. It'd be another one to get on.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Fuzz Townsend might do one. I suppose, Martin Ashworth, he'd be a good guest. Finally find a window in Martin's diary.
He's a guy from our train trip, right?
That's right. He's the driver from the GC. If he hasn't done it in preservation, it's not worth doing. And he was on the video. If anyone's seen the video of me on the Standard 5 with Richard at the Great Central.
What, the one from quite a while ago?
That's right. The hour long. Martin's the driver in that as well. Yeah. In fact, that's where the idea of doing a podcast came from, because when me and Martin chat on the viaduct during our stop on the diner with Richard, quite a few of the comments said that would make a great podcast. And that was where the germination of it came from.
Let's get him on.
So that'd be cool. And Richard himself, we'd love to have Richard on for an episode.
Richard, he would be a star.
He would be a star, and Lulu's the real star, of course.
We'd have to have on wide angle, and the thing
might not have a lot to say.
We should probably make a needs known. I'll bring some dog trees. But thank you for watching.
Anyway, thank you for watching, guys.
It's been fun actually doing
this. It's been good to get back to it, hasn't it? It's been a long while since we've done one, so it's nice to get back in the saddle.
I'm happy, and like I said before, coming to your shop, seeing things around here always makes me want to go back home and start working on the railway. So it's cool. Actually, I picked up a Bachmann Engage Percy,
you got a Percy,
which I'm going to take the body off. Obviously, it might offend some people, and put some narrow gauge stuff in it. So that'll be a future video. So that'd be cool.
That'd be good.
Right. Well, see you soon.
See you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you in a while.
Bye bye.